You're listening to the Jōrni Podcast. The way we see a challenge can either trap us or set us free. Stay tuned for the first part of the Ascend series. This episode contains adult subject matter, and some listeners may be triggered by this content. Listener discretion is advised. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Jōrni Podcast. Welcome to our special Ascend series. In this first part of the Ascend series, we focus on awareness and mindset as the foundation for any journey of healing or transformation. When life delivers a diagnosis or a challenge that feels insurmountable, awareness becomes the place where clarity begins. Anaez, formerly Nate Zeleznick, is a globally recognized speaker, energy master, biometaphysics expert, and visionary healer. As the creator of the Integrated Ascension Method and co-founder of Ascended Living, Anaez bridges ancient Indonesian royal energy practices with modern neuroscience, biochemistry, and advanced frequency medicine, unlocking extraordinary levels of healing and human potential. Currently healing an inoperable brain tumor, which was reduced in size by 50% in just a few weeks, Anaez is using his own method, a fusion of breathwork, meditation, biohacking, supplementation, and the support of some of the world's most powerful biochemists and energy healers. Here is the first part of this extraordinary series, A for Awareness and Mindset, with Anaez. Hello and welcome to our special series today on the Jōrni Podcast. And I have an extraordinary guest with me today, and some of you may have already listened to him in a previous episode. His name is formerly Nate Zeleznick, and he is joining us today as Anaez, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Nate, Anaez. And I'm so grateful that you're here today joining us for this very special series that we are putting together. And I can't wait for you to tell our listeners a little bit about your journey, why you're here today, and what we are going to be creating over these coming weeks for our listeners. Welcome to the podcast.
Petra, thank you so much. So hello, everyone out there who's listening. It's an honor and pleasure to be here with all of you. My story is definitely a unique one. I have been blessed and honored to do and pioneer many things in the energy and the martial arts world for the past 26 years, including bringing a very special form of martial art and meditation, energy development, breath work unlike any other modality on the planet, energy healing, as well as even extrasensory perception, truly superhuman ability to the Western world in a very reproducible, a very methodical, a very understandable way that gets results. That said, earlier this year, on March 3rd, I, as a lifelong teacher and trainer and practitioner of different energy arts, have been given the opportunity to really heal myself. And what I mean by that is to ask everybody out there, have you ever hit rock bottom so hard that you didn't even know if you'd be able to get back up? Well, what do you do? What do you do when life hits you so hard that the only way forward is to actually become someone completely new? Now, even astrologically, and I've had a couple different readings, and I didn't really lean into those very much, into astrology or birth numbers, things like that. But there have been a couple that have really stuck with me. And one of them, well, actually both of them, they looked at what my planetary signs are, my birth date and time, and they said, you're here to die many times and be reborn as a new version of yourself. I just want to ask everybody out there, have you ever felt like you had reached the end of a life cycle in your life, or maybe you even felt like you were dead, even though technically your body was still alive? Well, I have, and I've died and been reborn many times. A couple ways to explain this is when I was 12 years old, after years of relentless bullying that really bordered on torture, I found myself sitting on my father's floor, his office floor, with his loaded rifle pointed at my head. And I was really, literally 1 millimeter away from ending everything. And then the guilt of what that would do to my parents hit me. So I didn't go through with it and I put the gun away. But the thing is that I had a choice to choose whether I was going to stay or whether I was going to go. And I decided to stay. And because we can choose our own path, instead of choosing the path of a total victim, I chose the path of a warrior healer. And I became obsessed with becoming either a ninja or a Jedi, like a ninjedi. And there was no martial arts training. So I practiced on my brothers, which they didn't appreciate much. But that was one of my lifetimes. And that night after I put the gun away, I started having out of body experiences. That's really when my spiritual blossoming started taking place. And then since I wanted to be a ninja and a Jedi, when I was 23, going to university, or actually after I was out of college, the universe gave me a shot to do exactly that, something that no one in history had ever been given the chance to do. And I was given this honor of pioneering a secret royal martial art from Indonesia into the United States. And like I mentioned, it combines breath work, meditation, and superhuman training. This is really a unicorn of a system called Merpati Putih, or the White Dove System. Merpati Putih means white dove in Indonesian. And for 26 years, I've been training people all over the world. I've learned from some of the greatest modern masters that there are. I've taught over 10 million people so far. And I've created really the next evolution of energy work with my Integrated Ascension Method, or my IAM for short. I was the 2024 US Wellness Coach of the Year, honored in Dubai, as well as the Visionary of the Year at the Health 2.0 conference, also in Dubai. And everything was getting better and better and better. And then, wham, I lost all sensation of my body. I couldn't feel my skin. I stuck a needle in my arm and it didn't hurt. And I was thinking, that's not normal. So I went to the emergency room and they did an MRI. And the doctor came in and his words were, uh-oh. I looked at him and I just said, uh-oh, what? And he said, Mr. Zeleznick, I'd like to see you in the hall, please. At that time, I didn't even have an elevated heart rate because somehow inside Petra, I knew what he was going to say. And he took me out to the hall and he took me to a monitor and he started scrolling through slides and he stopped on one and it showed a white ball inside my head. And he said, you see this? That's not supposed to be there. And that's when I really went, uh-oh. And the thing is that with our modern medical system, sometimes if anybody out there has ever been in a situation where you had to have something treated and they just kind of dismissed it, well, that's what I felt like when he looked at me and he said, well, why don't we go ahead and we'll have you come back in about 6 months for another MRI and we'll just keep an eye on it. And I went, no. As a martial artist, I don't wait to get punched in the face twice. I'm going to do something about it. Parry it, block it, get out of the way, whatever I have to do, but I'm not going to allow it to happen twice. Right then, I went into it took about an hour's worth of being in shock. And then I started thinking about, okay, everything's figure outable. How am I going to make this for me? Because I obviously have created this on a quantum level. This higher self has created this for me as a path to learning. So what is the lesson that I'm here to learn? Making that mindset shift, which is really what we're talking about today in my Ascend architecture. Each one of the letters of Ascend is a different class, which we'll be going through over the next 6 classes. A is for awareness and mindset, which is the most important thing you can have when dealing with any kind of a difficult diagnosis, prognosis, or situation in your life, even if it's a mental one, family one, awareness and mindset is absolutely crucial. I asked myself, what am I going to do? How do we figure this out? Because of where the tumor is, Petra, they can't operate. They can't get to it. If they do, if they even tried, the neurosurgeons that I've seen have said, this is prime real estate. If we go in there even to biopsy it, it could either kill you or leave you permanently disabled. And I went, well, neither of those is an option. So what do I do? There are so many things that the medical establishment does not recognize as being valid in the world of healing. And that's something I've learned is that medical does not mean healing. It doesn't. Medical is very good at something that is emergent. If I break my leg, please don't do acupuncture. Set my bone. I want my bone to be able to heal itself. But when it comes down to healing, medical doesn't do that at all. It's always the body's intrinsic ability to heal, whether that is a cut, a scrape, a broken bone, a pathogen. It's the body that heals itself. It dawned on me, okay, my body has the ability to heal. I have seen people with stage 4 cancers 10 years after they were diagnosed. They were given months to live. Now they're alive. They did it naturally. I can do this too. And so can everybody out there who's listening. Now, of course, I do not recommend not seeking medical advice and finding out what a diagnosis could look like. But when we believe the prognosis that you have 3 months to live, they're just going based upon the bell curve of what they've seen and what they're supposed to tell people. But the thing is that each one of us is unique, which means we all have a different soul's journey. We all have a different healing path. And I really believe that the body wants to heal. When given the right environment, it wants to be healthy. It wants to be in homeostasis and balance. So for me, my journey has gone through an entire odyssey from this neurosuicide to out-of-body experiences to spirituality to being able to see without my eyes when I was young and having that then help me bring this Indonesian contingent over here for the first time ever to help teach blind people how to see vibrationally, to being the first non-Indonesian ever allowed to learn it, to being able to partner with one of my younger brothers and be able to bring this to the world, to owning a large martial arts school, to helping people all over the world, not just unlock their superhuman abilities, their higher abilities, but also heal from things that they've been told are incurable. With all these things in mind, now it's my turn to heal myself. Since March 3rd, I have undergone a radical transformation of my body, losing now, as of today, 88 pounds, putting on 17 pounds of muscle. All of my blood markers are absolutely perfect. My blood pressure went from hypertension. Now, last time, just a couple of days ago, it was 119 over 81. So absolutely perfect. I feel better than I've ever felt in my entire life. I look better than I've ever felt in my entire life. And the tumor has shrunk by 50% using these alternative treatments, especially the new frequency medicines that I've been using, things that are not available to the public quite yet, unless you actually go through me and my company and my program, Ascended Living. We actually basically get people in to see the president in a way for people that are so busy that they are booked maybe years out, but we can get people in weeks if they're dealing with something really serious. Petra, that is a way to just put it into a nutshell that my journey, my deaths, my rebirths, they continue. And now, as I step into this new frequency, this vibration, this new power as Anaez, which is the name revealed to me during a deep shamanic, spiritual ritual and initiation in Costa Rica several years ago, that I pushed away, that I decided I was going to use only for myself when I speak to myself. But it feels right now to actually step into the world as Anaez, as a new version of myself, because coming back from the brink of a tumor that has been threatening to take my life and successfully doing it, and now helping other people learn how to do this and more, it's about time to step into this rebirth.
Yeah. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing your journey to coming to today and some of the experiences that you have gone through, that you have lived through and died through. I feel, as you kind of said before, we could make this into a movie and our listeners would be fascinated with all of the aspects of this. What really pulls me out of this is you're experiencing almost like an identity shift through these deaths and rebirths. And this is something I hear about a lot when people are struggling with terminal diagnoses or facing these terminal illnesses, whether they live or die afterwards. That is sort of another discussion, but that identity shift that happens in that moment where you receive that diagnosis. So I feel it is extremely fitting that you are coming into your own with a new name and a new, I want to say, almost a bit more aware, conscious, and connected identity coming through this journey. Do you find that coming from March 3rd forward to today, that there has been a bit of an identity shift for you, that you don't see the world quite the same anymore, that things in your life, they obviously have changed. Having a brain tumor will do that to you, but have you felt that shift sort of in who you are?
1000%. And on many different levels. I think that a lot of people who have, say, a serious or a terminal diagnosis, one of the first things that they realize is life is way too short to concern yourself with the BS that we've been occupying ourselves with before. The things that are the resentments, the things that are the judgments, the things that are the hidden shadows that hold us back. When a person is faced with, say, in my case, a brain tumor, or let's say it was multiple sclerosis or a cystic fibrosis or something that is like, you're not going to be the same after you hear those words. A lot of people do resort to fear. They immediately hand their power over to the people in the white coats that say, this is the only plan of action that you can take. But as I mentioned, healing does not necessarily, it's not the same thing as medical. And the body wants to heal. I know that for a fact. I've seen people who are paralyzed get up and walk out of their chairs before, using the power of meditation and the power of their mind and the power of quantum healing. If we understand from physics that everything is vibration, information, energy, and frequency, and every frequency carries information of some sort, if we're able to change the station, so to speak, to a different frequency, we get new information. It informs our cell on a quantum level, and then we can make an actual rapid shift, not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, etherically, spiritually as well. And for me, yes, it was a big shift. I just went, okay, what is real? What is really important? You don't have time to F around with anything that's not actually real. Do you really want to go and be remembered as that guy who, just like so many other people, suppressed everything, repressed everything, overexpressed things, or distracted and hid away from the things? Or would you like to actually be known for what you've been teaching people how to do for decades, which is to be able to go within and find out who you truly are? And that's been something with this, Petra, that I could have just kept going and say, yes, I understand it logically. Yes, all of these things. I read Ram Dass and I am okay. That's great. Now we're just going to cut the BS here and actually talk for real. When it's your life and you're facing the ticking clock, whereas you knew the clock was ticking, but you didn't see the seconds hand moving. Now you do. And you're like, oh, okay, this is serious. This is real. This is real right now. At least in a holographic universe, this is as real as it's gotten for me. So let's see, what can we do? And having the awareness and the mindset, since this is A in the Ascend architecture, that is absolutely the most critical thing that you can have, is a positive awareness and mindset and information to make your decisions in confidence that you're making the right one for you, instead of abdicating all your power to people that, let's be honest, unless your doctor is your mom, they don't care about you as much as you care about yourself. You're another number, at least in America, you're another number. You get your 15 minutes with your doctor, and then they tell you, yeah, got a brain tumor. Yeah, it's on your brainstem. Yeah, it's pushing on the center for breathing. And if it keeps growing at all, it might prevent you from ever taking another breath and you die. But let's just keep an eye on it. Let's go ahead and we're going to wait for 6 months. We'll take another look and see if there's anything else that we can do. That's not their fault. They're doing exactly what they're here to do, which is to give us the information that we need to know in order to make a educated decision based upon evidence for ourselves in order to really take the reins of our life in our hands. And that's so freeing, Petra. That is such a liberating thing. Is it a little bit scary? Yeah. But what's more scary is just believing what people tell you because they have a certificate on the wall, but they're not emotionally invested in you. And they have lost many patients. They've also saved a lot of patients. And I would ask everybody out there who's listening, have you ever been given a gift from a family member and you were so grateful at that time, and then a year later, you don't remember who gave that to you? Our memories are short. Even if you're this doctor's favorite patient, chances of you being remembered after you pass, okay, maybe for a little while, and then we're on to live our lives, which we're not here to dwell on the past. We're here to live our lives. And when it's your diagnosis, whether it's cancer or a tumor or diabetes or Hashimoto's or Alzheimer's or a stroke, or maybe it is a TBI or long COVID or asthma, whatever it is, because there are all kinds of things that can affect us and become a tissue issue. It becomes really, really, really personal because it's you. And there's a saying that I love, and I hope everybody else out there will really resonate with this. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice. And we have so much information, and that's actually a good thing and it's a bad thing. Why is that? Because if you've ever gone to IHOP or Denny's or something like that and seen like a 9-page menu, kind of hard to figure out what you really want to eat because there's all these different choices. And the thing is it's important to know the choices, but then it's also important to really lean into what are you going to do that is going to work for you. And I say that with all love and care for all the people out there that are on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or Facebook that are saying, yes, eat apricot seeds. It'll cure your cancer. Yes, make sure that you take white willow bark or black walnut husk, and that will cure your cancer. Here's the thing, is just like there are 8 billion people or 7.8, whatever it is, there are that many billions of individual paths to healing. There really are. It's important that we do our due diligence. And that's why I have a gift. Actually, I'm letting you know about this, Petra. It's a gift for everyone that comes onto my Ascended Living page, which will have the site where you can click on my natez360.com site and go right to Ascended Living. And I have a guide for everyone about basically what to do. What are your first steps when the S word hits the fan? If you get a hard diagnosis or a family member does, what are the first things that you can do to bring your awareness and mindset into a place of balance and health and seeing what is real instead of a place of scarcity or fright or illogical decisions, which it's normal to make those when we're in a panicked situation. But how do we get to that place of making clear, rational decisions that are actually going to promote healing and bring us into that space? That's something everybody will have access to on the Ascended Living site. That's a gift to everybody here. We're all going to be faced at one point or another with a hard decision. And going through this Ascend framework that's been so crucial for me, but also will be really beneficial for other people who want to follow it. So that's my gift. Along those lines, when we are looking at our mortality, yes, none of us are here forever. This is true. There is a old country western song, and this title of it is Everyone Wants to Go to Heaven, but No One Wants to Go Today. It's true. Stepping into and leaning into these different modalities is very important. That's also something I do, and I help people with the Ascended Living program since I'm a body code practitioner and I've been a seasoned muscle tester and worked with hundreds of people over the past decade in helping them to not only release emotions and trapped energies, but also to determine what their body actually needs nutritionally and supplementation wise. Your higher self already knows, your subconscious already knows, your body already knows. But just like all of us, I think, have taken multiple choice questions and we got that instinct, circle B, and we were like, oh, but C is probably the answer. And then we get it wrong because we should have trusted ourselves. We do have this higher wisdom and intelligence within ourselves, but the majority of people have no idea how to actually accurately access it. And even if we do know how to do it, sometimes our own subconscious will make things hidden from us. So it's important to have maybe an outside opinion that can verify, corroborate what you're feeling, or help give you a direction to go in. And that's something else I help people with, which people can find out about that on the Ascended Living side for sure.
Amazing. Well, thank you for your gift that you're offering. I feel one of the pieces when a situation like this happens, not just to ourselves, but as you said, also this happens to our loved ones as well, is that we end up in this place of fear because we are afraid that the choices we make will be the wrong ones. We might end up dying. We might cause somebody else to die if we make the wrong medical choices for them. So it is very, very easy, I feel, to get stuck in that place of, I can't even make any decisions because I have no idea what's right or wrong. So, offering this guide, I feel, is a good first step for our listeners to come to have a look at, and maybe work on that place of fear that they may be stuck in or trapped in, whatever's going on in their lives or the lives of their loved ones, to be able to come into that awareness that we're talking about in this first piece here and really start making decisions that come, as you said, from that intuition and that place of trust. I feel there's not really any efficient way to move forward until we can come unfrozen out of that fear and really move forward into that awareness. And part of that is that I also feel that a lot of the times when we are dealing with real medical emergencies, hospital medical emergencies like the tumor, like a cancer diagnosis, a lot of the information simply isn't given to us readily. It's not available readily in the sort of Western medical setting. Having that awareness to expand outward from that and really just trust that there's a lot out there that we may not yet know about, that I feel also is one of these pieces of the awareness that we need to open ourselves up to that, be curious, be looking. As you said, there's no reason to be ignorant in this age where we have so much information. But again, that can be part of that fear, is to look outside and really think, wow, where do I go from here? So thank you for offering that guide. And take us through a little bit of the A of Ascend, which is the awareness and mindset, and how our listeners can move into those pieces from a place of hesitation, a place of fear, being maybe frozen and just not knowing what to do, and facing their own mortality, which is that piece that's probably the scariest, as you said, seeing those seconds starting to actually tick down now. How can they come into this first part of the framework that you're offering?
The first most vital thing that you can do right away, immediately, you've been doing this since you first got here on the planet, is take a big deep breath in through the nose, let your stomach extend. Hold your breath for a moment. Feel how good it feels to be alive in this moment. Exhale out your mouth until you have no air left. Focus again, breathe in through the nose fully from the bottom up. Hold it. Exhale from the top down. And focus, first of all, on your breath. What this helps us do is it brings us from either sending our energy and our mental awareness into the past of things that we wish we could have done, or into the future of things that have not happened yet, and brings us to the actual here and now, which is all that actually exists. Every single millisecond, we have different timelines spinning off depending on the butterfly wings happening on the other side of the earth. For us right now, it's important. We don't need to, but it's important to ask, what is real? As we breathe, What is real? Right now, I am alive. Right now, I'm not in pain. Right now, no matter what that doctor said or what is going on right now, I am here at this moment and I'm grateful. I'm happy and grateful that I get this moment. So if I never get another one, at least this one is full of happiness and gratitude and reverence for what's here. So that's the first thing, right? Take a breath, take some deep breaths. Make sure you're breathing into your belly. Let your belly come out. The majority of oxygen is absorbed in the bottom 2/3 of your lungs. And it also activates your parasympathetic nervous system to start to calm your system down. And that's the second part is once we start to breathe, we start to become aware, we start to become present, then it's important that we calm. Our nervous system, it's normal, it's expected that it's going to be in a fight or flight state when we receive heavy news. It's like your partner, you've been having some trouble, and they say, we need to talk. Oh, all right, nervous system. I think we've all been there, or we've had to say that. When it comes down to your life, your health, what you're going to do, taking action forward in order to stay on the planet as long as possible, having a calm, relaxed nervous system will help you so immensely. And what I recommend you do, and this is my personal recommendation because this is what I did and what I recommend everybody does, is my good friend, Dr. Jeffrey Thompson, who is the founder of Scientific Sounds. What we could do, Petra, is we'll put in the show notes a link where you can go and actually look at his work because his ability to help you attenuate your nervous system isn't like anything else I've ever seen. And when it comes to awareness, it comes to mindset, being able to put that fight or flight state away and over to the side and moving more into the rested, digested homeostasis place, then first of all, your entire nervous system is going to be resonating with peace and with calm, which is then going to help you be able to think more clearly. Third, it's going to help you make more rational and also heart guided decisions instead of knee jerk reactions. That very rarely works well unless you're jumping out of the way of a moving car. Then that works out well. But when it's a long term plan for your care, for diagnosis, for next treatments, you don't want to react. You want to act with consciousness, with presence, full breaths. That can help so much right there. Breathe, calm, aware, then decide.
It sounds deceptively simple.
It
And
is. Well, it
yeah,
is. Oh, I didn't say it was easy,
yeah.
but it's simple. Yes, it is simple. The breath work will help. Dr. Jeff's Scientific Sounds, especially his one. If anybody out there is listening and taking notes, it's called Default Mode Network. The track is called Beyond. If you get Beyond, that is my favorite of all of them. And I've got like 25. That's my favorite. That one will help your nervous system more than any other one that I know of in his work. It's worth it to have that, if nothing else, just because you'll feel awesome every day. Anyway, as you were saying, sorry.
Yeah, that's amazing. We'll make sure we link to the scientific sounds as well so that our listeners can pick that up. And I feel you are offering a lot of resources that will be very, very helpful in these first few moments, maybe when we're faced with, as you said, the shock, but also going forward, because a lot of these things we face, they don't last 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. As you know, there's a whole journey that's attached to when a diagnosis like that comes or when an experience like that happens. And that can take months, years. We might be working through this, living with this, experiencing it. So I feel these resources that are long term help us set up the foundation for this healing in a really solid and profound way that will support us through this journey, no matter how long that particular part takes. So I feel this is super helpful for our listeners as well. And I love listening to sounds and different kind of things that have frequencies that affect me and change me and heal me. So I feel this will be a wonderful experience for our listeners. And what can we do in a sense that oftentimes we are not by ourselves? We have families, we have loved ones, we have friends, we have colleagues, and they all will react in all kinds of different ways when things like this happen. So can we also bring this to our family? Can we tie them into our healing journey in a way that will help support us going forward so that we also have this way of sharing a little bit? Of course, they might not understand 100% exactly what you're going through, but can we expand our experience to our loved ones so that they can support us in this journey?
That is a beautiful question, Petra. Thank you. And yes, they say that no man is an island. We're not here to vacuum. There are other people that are affected by a diagnosis, even if it's something like diabetes, which is very manageable, right? And it's an epidemic, a pandemic. It's global epidemic. But people live for many, many years with diabetes. But it is something that, if not done right, it could actually lead to your death, lead to neuropathy, lead to amputation. I mean, it can get really serious. It's not always as poignant and as powerful as you have a brain tumor that might stop you from being able to breathing at any time. Okay, that's pretty extreme. I get it. I'm known for being pretty extreme, including my spiritual lessons. That said, because you do have other people in your life, people who care for you, people who love you, people who want the best for you. First thing that I'll tell you the story of how I spoke to my father about this. He was the last one to know. The day that I got my diagnosis, he broke his arm. So he was dealing with his own healing. So I didn't want to bring and dump this on him. So I told my mom first, and then I told my brothers, and then finally I told my father. And I'm not the kind of person who sent a text message, "Hey, Dad, got a tumor," frowny face. I don't do that. Gen X, we remember how to talk to each other. So I went to my dad's house and I just said, "Hey, Dad, I have something that I really need to talk to you about. And we're going to move through something together right now." Okay. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "We're about to have an experience. And I want you to know right off the bat, first of all, how much I love you. And since what I'm about to say is going to be difficult to hear, let's take a breath together." We took a big breath in, breathed out, and then I told him the story about going to the ER and what the doctor said, and that we don't know what it is, but that it's very serious. And for me to approach my father that way, that was a really important thing just to help buffer this. And even though, like I said earlier, when your significant other says, "We really need to talk," then you're like, "Oh, crap." When I told my father, "We're going to move through something together right now." First of all, by doing that, I asked for his support that we're together. And I also let him know that we're together. I'm not just telling him something, we're actually learning something together at the same time. And by doing that, Petra, my dad was a bit in shock. And then he thanked me for telling him. And then he started, "If you need any help, whatever I can do to help you," and helping to bring these people as allies onto your side is very important, because with awareness and mindset, if your awareness is that nobody cares about you, nobody's there, nobody's supporting you, they won't care anyway, so I'm not going to mention it to them. That is a very difficult road to walk on your own. And it's not something that you need. Everybody out there, please understand this. You don't need to walk this road alone. Even if you have no family, even if you have no friends, you can put yourself out there and you will have people come to your aid. But you have to be willing to actually have that awareness, to have that mindset, to step into receivership. And I received very different reactions from different people. My mother, an ICU nurse for 54 years, I told her, and she said, "Well, you might want to look into parasites, because I've read that a lot of tumors are parasites. So get back to me on that." And it was like, whoa, okay. And my dad was, being a Buddhist, in a much more spiritual shock frame of mind, like, whoa, okay, what can we do to help? I've had other friends that are like, "We know you got this. Nate, you got this. Whatever you need, we're praying for you." And I've had a few people that I thought would be a little bit more concerned say, "Wow, that sucks." And that was very shocking, because people are going to deal with this and they're going to react to it in a different way. And that's okay. But the most important thing is that we do step into allowing those who are there to help us, who are there to be our guides and our mirrors to reflect back to us what we need to hear to help with this awareness and mindset and our courage to move forward. These things are, I'll be totally honest with everybody out there. Looking at all the stuff online and my own, yes, I got this. I know I'm going to heal through this. I was like, I got this in a month because I'm a high achiever. I have always just been like, I got this. I'm going to just get through this, set a new speed record. And here we are 5 months later, and it's 50% reduced because it is literally a rock. It's not a piece of jello. It's like dropping a marble into pudding. So our brain is about this consistency of pudding. And this is like a rock. So I'm like, okay, let's now once again ask what's real. How long does it take for a stone to erode to dust in a river? Long time. Okay, so I'm dealing with a rock in a river. Got it. I'm not dealing with little seaweed that just floats down. Nope. It helped me also be more realistic about this, but realizing that there are people around me who care and that there are people who will support me. And that has been absolutely crucial, but it's also been, in my professional opinion, spiritually, it's been one of the best things that I could do for them as well, because it allows them to actually lend aid and support in the way that they can. And not everybody will in the same way, or maybe not in the way that we want. However, if they don't know, then you deprive them of that opportunity. And just like I'm sure everybody out there, you feel great when you help someone else out. Don't deprive, please. Don't deprive those people out there who want to feel great because they helped you out by keeping it all to yourself and feeling like you're alone, because you're not.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. Sometimes the first thought is, "Oh, I can't put this on this person because they're going through their own thing, or they won't understand what I'm saying, or I can't tell this to them." So, yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I do feel that having people around you, and as you said, even if you have no family, there are lots of people, networks of people who have gone through the same thing or who are just happy to support you. So, such an important piece. And before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you one more thing, because we're talking about awareness and mindset, and we've spoken a little bit about the different kind of things that we can start doing. I was wondering, outside of the breath work, the sounds, the frequencies, how can we really start, I want to say, working with our mind to really open up that mindset for us, to prepare us for bringing in more information, for maybe bringing in different approaches, therapies, and just being open and ready for taking on these new ideas? I feel like there are a few more things out there that I know you've mentioned in your A part of the Ascend method. What kind of things can we do to really work on that mind and mindset part as we start moving into those journeys?
Wonderful question. Beautifully said. The first thing, as I mentioned before, is breath. You already have it with you. You always have it with you until you don't. In which case, when you don't, guess what? You don't need this device anyway. But since you're here and you're listening, deep breath in, all the way out, and do that for 5 minutes straight. And asking a couple very important questions. These always help us, especially in a situation where it's not what we prefer. Asking the first question, where am I? Where am I? No matter what, the answer is always here. Doesn't matter if you're in Cincinnati or in Tokyo, the answer is here. So when we ask this question, where am I? Here, it brings us into our body, where we ask ourselves, what time is it? First, where am I? Here. What time is it? Right now, it's 11:31 a.m. Mountain Time, but the real answer is now. Where am I? Here. What time is it? Now. And breathe. So that's the most important thing we can do right off the bat, Petra, is to get control of our system and bring ourselves back into our body instead of in our head. Tony Robbins, for people who are fans out there, he has a saying that if you're in your head, you're dead. Well, if you're always thinking up here, that's where the hormones of stress really come from. And we're going to start stressing ourselves out more. To breathe into our heart, to breathe deeply into the belly, slowly. Where am I? What time is it? That's first step. The second part is to ask the question, how is this for me? If we ask, why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve that? These things that point the fingers at us as being at fault, that is not the same as taking responsibility. In taking responsibility, there is no blame. It is just recognizing what is. How is this for me? I'm asking these questions. The reason why is our brain is a question answering machine. If you tell our brain something, it might either accept it and then lock it into a box as that is a paradigm that we don't break free from, or it's very difficult. Beliefs are very difficult to shift sometimes. And then the second thing is if we say it, we might get rebellion. That's not true. No, we aren't. When we ask a question, our brain goes into answering mode. Like, why is it? Why is it true that this is really for me? How is this for me? And then be quiet, breathe, allow your higher self, your subconscious, your superconscious to answer that question instead of just saying, well, I know the answer. No, you don't. If you really knew the answer, your higher self wouldn't have created it as a lesson. Okay, that's okay. Take responsibility for it. The second thing is curiosity. Okay, how is this for me? What's next? What's around the corner? I don't know. But I'm on the ride. I am tall enough to be on the roller coaster. Seatbelts fastened, hands up. Here we go. I signed up for this ride. Now, where's it going to take me? And if we look at things through the lens of curiosity, the lens of inquiry, the lens of questions, we're going to find those answers. Like in the old saying, ask and ye shall receive. Okay, ask the right questions. Then the answers will come. The infinite, unlimited, eternal being part of us has the answers to everything. And we've all heard the saying that the answers are within. But if we're always just sitting there yapping and talking, you can never listen. You can never hear. And that's the difference between prayer and meditation. Prayer is asking God or the universe for something, and you're outwardly projecting. Meditation is listening for the answer. So breathe and listen. Those are the most important things right off the bat. Everybody has that available to them at all times. At all times. And it will always be available to you. But it's only good if we use it like any other tool. One more time, recap, breathe deep. What time is it? Where am I? How is this for me? What's next?
Amazing. I'm letting that sort of settle in. I feel that in my body as you're saying that. It's a really interesting sensation to let myself embody those questions that you're asking. And yes, there is no way that you're staying in your head when you're actually starting to embody these questions. So that brings you right back into your body. I'd like to thank you for spending this time with our listeners, with me going through the letter A of the Ascend framework. And I am so grateful that you are here today and sharing this information with our listeners. I feel this is so vitally important for people to hear. And I can't wait to continue in the next part with the S letter of the Ascend framework. And Anaez, thank you for joining me today. It has been an absolute privilege and honor to have you here today. I am, as I said, so privileged and grateful.
Petra, it is also me who is privileged, grateful, and happy to be here. And to everybody out there, create an amazing life on purpose. I look forward to being here on the next one. S is going to be source through breath, how to access the source energy, the chi, the vital life force, using the unique system that I brought to America that millions have experienced, but now it's your turn. And it's something you can use like this thing that we talked about today. You can use it pretty much anytime, anywhere. And I guarantee you've never done anything like it before in any other breath work. So stay tuned. We'll hear you back here next time. And please enjoy the Ascended Living site and the free gift at the site at the bottom. You can just click on that and get it right away.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And we will hear you and see you all back here for the next part. Take care until then and be well. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Jōrni Podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Jōrni on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejorni.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.